Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning into Monday Morning Handicapping. I am now going to be looking at the Kentucky Derby card, so if anyone has any requests of a race or a horse they want me to cover, feel free to ask in the chat. But I'm just going to go ahead and get started here in a minute once I sort my screen out, since I already looked at the late pick 4. I did a video on that already, so if anyone saw that video they know who I like, but I'll put them down just so they're up on the screen. And one thing I will take away from this Kentucky Oaks day is that Chad Brown won the Kentucky Oaks with the horse having made only 2 career starts thus far, and that's been the big story about his horse in the Derby. Emerging Market has only had 2 career starts. I guess pneumonia swept through the barn. Both horses were afflicted. Their debuts got pushed back, have only 2 starts before their big races, but the first one won pretty well, so who's to say he can't do it with another? Again, that's Emerging Market, but let me put my pick 4 picks up on the screen. Guess I should scroll down to those races, try to put them in order. 9, 10, 11, 12. So in race 9, fortunately or unfortunately, I did kind of like the favorite. I can make this screen a little bigger perhaps. Let's see. Stark contrast. I liked blinging it back on the stretch out. Alpeland. Remember Mamba. I have to take a look at these. Maybe no real particular order, but the 4 on top. Four, 3, 6, 7, 12, perhaps. In race number 9. No particular order. How's that look on the screen? Race number 10. I definitely like the 6 over the 5, over the 9. Go edit that. Race 11, go 9 over 6, 9, 6, 3, 7, 9, 6, and 12, 1, 6. Okay. I think that is it for my picks there. Oh, thanks, Vale Place. Should tell them about you. You're the one who hit the trifecta. That was tough. It's kind of like in the Breeders' Cup. I like I was gonna put Sierra Leone on top over Forever Young over a few, and I thought, you know what, spend the extra couple bucks and put Sierra Leone and Forever Young on top, and then go underneath. So I had those two in the first two positions. I wish I did that in the Oaks, but some solace in the fact that I was close. I was on to something. I don't know if you have a preference. I was thinking about just starting with race 1, or I can sort of work backwards, starting on race 8, or even race 13, so I could do a later pick 4 in case the one I have up there kind of busts out. Then I can start one in race 11 right before the Derby, because I do think test score is a single for me before the Derby. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I'm not a good listener. Looked good turning for home, but that 9, always a runner, just wore her down. Six and a half furlongs. Just do a quick glance how much speed is in here. A little bit of speed there. A little bit of speed there. Coming out of Indy. Showed speed last time out. Oh, I read it. Yeah, I did pick 4 earlier. I hit the last 2 races, but I singled the big 3 to 5 favorite in the first leg and ran a somewhat close second. He just got ran down. Chad Brown had 3 horses in that race, and his longest shot of the 3 won. And then I tried to fade the morning line favorite the second leg, but he hung on. I ran second and third in the second leg, and then hit the last 2, and they were paying pretty well. Hulkamania ran against the Puma, got smashed. Cutting back in distance, ran pretty well, 7 furlongs. Something I heard, I listened to I Ask They Answer with trainer Dale Romans a lot, and someone asked him to rank the hardest tracks for a horse to ship into and win, and he said Tampa was the most difficult. So I don't know what I should think of when a horse debuts there. I guess he also said it depends if they haven't worked over it, ship in and win. Horse could be a little extra talented, but just something I noticed with Hulkamania. So looks like not a ton of speed in this race. So we'll go back up, 6.5 furlongs, optional claimer. Stake last time out, on synthetic. Sprint 1 on debut, went a mile, Turf Paradise synthetic. A little close to the pace early and just sort of petered out. Back to a sprint, pretty fast fractions for a turf race. And that stake moved up and just faded. Beat the 3rd place winner by 3.5 lengths, was wide, 4-path. Goes from Kimura to Pratt. Speightstown's a pretty good speedy sire. Down on the inside can be tough. Let's see who's that's outside. Blinkers off. First time gelding. Debuted on dirt. Liberty Valance. Name sounds familiar. Gallivant sounds familiar. Four-horse field, broke from the inside, tried to go on the lead, faded bad, came back after a few months. Synthetic, Wesley Ward horse, usually debuts them on turf, I thought. I guess he's had some winners at Churchill. Blinkers off. 25% move for him. 12-1 on a Wesley Ward. American Pharaoh, Declaration of War. Oh, welcome, friends of Vale. Vale's trying to make me money, but I didn't listen. Some speed here. Fading plenty. Went to Indianapolis. Probably a pretty soft field there. Not a high strike rate trainer at all. In over his head. Go ran well off the layoff. Ran very poorly before that. Debuted at Churchill. Trailed wide. Showed some speed in a route. Second time out. Faded. Routing on synthetic. Showed a little bit of speed. Decent speed. Faded. Back to a route at Oaklawn. Did not show much speed. Tight. Bothered 6 wide at the 7/8 pole. Maybe draw a line through that race. Came back. 3 months later, ran pretty well. Spites down, curling. Good breeding there. Merry Derby to you as well, Blavo Murphy. Finished out pretty well first off the bench. Anton Georgi, I used to watch him ride at Golden Gate. Rode him last time out. 100K maiden special weight at Keeneland. Probably a decent field there. Ford's a little interesting. Like that comeback race. Hasn't worked since that race. Big step up from maiden race though. Hulkamania, won on debut at Tampa. Did not run well in the Tampa Bay Derby against Puma and Further Ado. Canaletto, all really good horses. Obviously top 2 are in the Derby. Looked like he made a middle move, tried to vie for the lead, but just not on par with Derby contenders. Obviously. Go from 1 turn to 2 turns. It's a tough task. Cut back, route to sprint angle, 22%. These are all long shots that I'm interested in so far, so I'm curious to see who the favorite is. 1, 2, and 5 so far look a little interesting. And the 4 rather. Or not so much the 2. 1, 4, 1, 4, 5. Cruising Chick. Cutting back from turf routes. It's like a bit of a closer. I don't mind this move if they show they at least have route speed. Here's his best race. Most recently was wide. Didn't really lose ground. Kind of ran evenly throughout in a stake race. Went to a stake race before breaking its maiden. Trainer change. The figures are there. Mid-70s. Took the Lasix off. Maybe that's why it didn't run as well. And wide. Gets back on the Lasix. Ran second to Englishman, who's in a big race. Race number 8. He's going to be battling against a highly touted Bob Baffert horse. That's going to be a good race. Race number 8. I'm not a fan of this race so far. Maybe I will switch to 8 after this and work backwards. Remember Mamba, that's one of the horses I like in the It's the American Turf, first leg of the pick 4 I have on the screen there. But in recent history, the American Turf has been a little chaotic. That's why I have so many horses thrown down there. A 30 to 1 and a 20 to 1. Ran evenly against Englishmen. Never close, but didn't really fade. And here we go. Here's our short price horse. Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado. A 93 buyer sticks off the page. Just over 30 seconds for the final at 5/16. Checked at the 7/16 still. Gilded Bandit. Let's see, that second place runner was there. Whoops. Keeneland. Deep Flame. We'll go to Equibase. See how good this horse is that he beat by half length after. So this horse has run 2 seconds. So he ran second 2 in his first race. See if the name sticks out. Trouble Calling. Don't recognize any of the horses from that race, but debuted running second. Thunderbuck also ran against the Puma in that race. Did not fare very well. Ran against Golden Tempo. Chip Honcho. Looked like this horse was intended to be on the Derby trail early on. Cutting back, trainer switch from Brad Cox to Brendan Walsh. Not a big downgrade. Butane, there's the 5-2 morning line. You know, Butane was on the Derby trail, and I heard a lot of chatter how he's a sprinter and needs to go back to sprinting. Second to Ted, So Happy. He's obviously in the Derby. Second to Ted Noffey, who was the early on Kentucky Derby favorite before he got sidelined. First time trying a mile. Silent Tactic right here. Soldier and Diplomat was on the trail. Incredible. Albus right to party. He just might be more of a sprinter. Obviously his routes are no good. Noble Fair can sit right off a pace. 270. Whoops. Oof. 6 starts, 4 wins in a second. This is a pretty good horse that Noble Affair just lost to. If you see that. Oh, he finished 97th in this race. Some kind of error there. Won the Bachelor Stakes, allowance, optional claimer. A claiming race. Interesting. That's a pretty sharp horse. I think that's a pretty good horse that Noble Affair ran second to off a 2-month little break. That's a 24 flat final quarter here. Sat just off, ran second to this horse. Noble Affair looks pretty interesting to me. Butane hasn't won since debut. I just kind of wonder if running these mile and an 8 races, it's either going to give him conditioning and he'll get back to his speedy ways and have the stamina, or he's just run a little ragged at this point. Then you got Gilded Bandit 3-1. Just broke its maiden. Deep Flame ran 2 seconds. Bunctus Folklora, I remember that one. I think was a Derby hopeful earlier. Yep, you can see I've misspelled his name twice, but have searched for him before. Let's see what this horse has been up to. 7 starts, no wins, a second and a third. So just based on the competition they've faced, I definitely like Noble Affair. Vacoma is a pretty good sire. Horse was purchased for 600 grand. I almost kind of like Butane a little bit better than the Gilded Bandit. So I think I like the 11 on top. Let's just go back and take a look. Let's see what Outfielder has done. Ran second to Outfielder. Three wins from 5 starts. Won a stakes race at Turfway. An allowance. Ran the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Probably didn't belong there. Ran second to a decent horse, I suppose. I do like that 11 a lot after seeing who he faced now. It's Wesley Ward horse. Won on debut, just hasn't done much since. Tug, 3-path, then went wide, yielded. Why would he try the synthetic with this horse? Think will be a speed factor, but I can't see this horse really improving to stick it out for 6.5. Fast early. Some speed in the 3. Let's see Ring Curl faced. This might be a race where I put my 11 on top and take some prices underneath. Pute Keteke. I'm going to misspell that. Let's see. Pute Keteke. Jeez. Feel bad for the race caller calling that horse. So 3 starts, no wins yet, a second and a third. All main special weights. Great moment. Let's see what the 3rd place finisher has done since then. I know the Ortiz brothers won 4 of the first 5 races. My buddy was telling me about that. Okay, so the 2nd and 3rd place finisher of this 4 horses last race don't have impressive resumes. But I think could maybe get a piece underneath. I do like the breeding. Anton Georgi, I liked him at Golden Gate, but this is a pretty big stage he's going to be on. Hulkamania. I mean, the buyers are about the same speed figures. I can forgive him for losing to the Puma and Further Ado, and even Canaletto, who is probably going further than that horse wants to do. Let's see what Ramajay came back to win. Did Pratt win any races? Let me think. No. I know he ran second on a big favorite for Chad Brown to start the pick 4, ending in the Oaks. And he was on Explorer, didn't win the Oaks, ran 4th. And then another Chad Brown horse just before the Oaks. He rallied up to finish a 3rd, I think. I'm not aware of any, but I wasn't watching all day. So Ramajay came back to break its maiden, run 3rd in an optional claimer, doing what? 6 furlongs on the dirt at Tampa Bay. So probably not the strongest field here. I think could sit a nice trip. I like the Jockey change. Nothing against these guys, but Gaffleone, they're going to get one of the top jocks, and probably like this horse. Tried the grade 3, I can forgive it. This is a softer spot. Whereas the 1, yeah, I think I bet Canaletto in that race. The only future I picked was Rebel Instinct. It was the very first Kentucky Derby prospect video I did. Liked what I saw, and then he didn't have a workout ever since. And my buddy actually just messaged me that he is now finally back on the work tab. So we'll see what comes of him. But I'd never done a futures wager before. It was an Into Mischief colt, so thought I'd take a shot since Into Mischief is on fire with Derby horses. And did not pan out. $10 down the drain at like 45 to 1. And it seems like one of the races where these milers cutting back could just kind of out sustain everyone else underneath. Source didn't really do much of anything. Express Kid's a pretty good horse. Another one that might just clunk up. Hernandez is has a reputation for riding the rails, and Yao Pan seems like a pretty good sire right now. Yeah, Gilded Bandit, not the toughest company, so I'm going to put 11 on top. I guess Butane could run well. Maybe Butane in second. 11-10. Gilded Bandit could get there. 7 could clunk up. First time on dirt. 1. I think it's just because it's what I'm used to. Is Formulator like kind of the same thing, but you can alter all the information around as you wish, kind of? Because I bought those. Sometimes I like to switch it to this horse's fractions as opposed to the leader of the race. I mean, I don't use Thoroughgraphs or Bristnet. I just stick with Classic. Works sometimes. So I think I'll go 11-10. Let's see, go to picks. I really like this 11. 10 with, who am I going to put underneath? I guess the 3 or the 8 could get up there. Hard to say can't. This horse just doesn't really close into much when faced with good competition. This horse, kind of forgive the last race, gets up, decent route speed, mid 70 buyers pretty consistently. Hulkamania, Gaffleone, Pratt's horse, first time on dirt, kind of a question mark there. Ran 1 on debut, but not the fastest fractions. See what Thailand came back to do. Horse he faced. Five races, 2 win, main special weight, optional claimer. Yeah, 3rd place. 1. 1, 5, 6 in 3rd, I guess. Oh, but you gotta have the 9. Oh no, the 8. 7 ran pretty well first. Switching to dirt against Englishmen. It's 40-1 in that race. Yeah, I don't know, for third place, kind of all over the place. Take the milers cutting back. Not the worst fractions. Nah, I think it's me a little too far back for this race. I think you'd take Hulkamania. Comma 5. Just so you guys know, not super confident in third place, but I do like that 11. It's been facing some good competition. Oh. Do you buy that from the DRF website and you just pay an extra $1 or $2? Because I see those options, but to be honest, I'm in a Down the Stretch Facebook group and can usually just get whatever they're posting there for free. So a lot of times I opt for that. But you guys want me to do the 14th race or go back to earlier in the card? Because I'm kind of open to anything. I also have pedigree query. Pull that up. Yeah, just let me know in the chat if you guys want me to switch races. I guess I'll finish this out. Probably be most focused on the later half of the card, but I'm open to anything. Kentucky Derby. I mean, couple things. I don't know if you're here when I started this live stream, but Chad Brown won the Kentucky Oaks with a horse that's only had 2 career starts, and that's kind of the big knock on Emerging Market. I know it's kind of a different ball game, bigger field and all, but that horse came back to run big. So can he do it twice? I mean, it was a big deal when Kenny McPeak did it. Now if Chad Brown does it with horses making their 3rd starts, that'd be something. And I think more speed has entered the race, which should help some of those deeper closers. Would say Emerging Market. His turn of foot around the far turn is pretty eye-catching. So, and I think he's got a good post to get his favorable path, sit off the speed. So let's see. Robusta's now in. Great White's in. Ocelli. Still a maiden, huh? Hasn't even won its first race. That would be something. $12,000 horse wins the Derby. Jeez. Oh, that horse must not have very many points. Robusta's in. That looks like a speedster. Corona de Oro, did he get in? I mean, do you have any specific questions on the Derby or anything you want me to share my thoughts on? Because, I mean, I've been on Renegade and Commandment for a while. I think the horses that I've drawn in don't hurt either of them. Maybe help Renegade slightly more. Maybe stretch the field out and he can find more openings to move up through. A lot of talk about him wearing those 3/4 shoes. I did want to go back and look at it's incredible. Has 2 wins over the Churchill Downs track, going 2 turns. A grade 3, 1 easy. Broke his maiden, 1 easy. Universe, a horse that is a deep closer. Hasn't really made a name for himself. Carson Street, I know I've looked that one up before. Let's see what he's done. Thoughts on JV? No. One win for Carson Street. Yeah. Let's see. Third in the Lecomte. Who won that one again? Golden Tempo. That horse, Golden Tempo. What did the trainer say? Has cracked hooves or something? Forget what I heard about Golden Tempo. And just running a little over his head. That's incredible to one my friend and I were talking about earlier. The 2 wins going 2 turns around this track. Can kind of stalk. I don't know. I think the added speed just might be too close when they're going 46 and change. Guess he went almost 47 flat here, but that's against maidens. 24.4 to this quarter. Finished off in sub 25, so that's pretty good. Quite a derby. One thought I had is there's not really any horses that are obviously standouts, so. And I heard John White talk about Dan and Bourbon, how his sire and grandsire are 7 for 7 around 2 turns over this track. So I just wonder if a real outsider could make an upset. Cracked heels, okay. Actually, let me see. I'm going to pull up. Right now I have this racing form set up for this horse's times. I'm going to switch it over to the leader. Get a better sense for the race flow. Yeah, I was never high on Golden Tempo, but I've heard plenty of buzz around him. Oops. Yeah, I don't know what else to add on the Derby, really. I'm going to stick with Renegade. I know the post hurts, but added speed. Irad's had Derby mounts out of the 1 hole before. Mo Donegal was pretty well regarded. Of course, that was the race Rich Strike won. Came back to win the Belmont, so that was a good horse. I just kind of hope he's a little more aggressive and starts to inch closer down the backstretch. Commandment, he's just kind of been impressive, and I think pretty sure it's the Florida Derby where the jockey didn't even really ask the horse to start running till halfway around the far turn, where before the horse was kind of being asked at the start of the far turn. So I just think Commandment could have won by more if he got going a little bit earlier. Right. He's got 2 wins over the track, both going 2 turns. Commandment's got one going 1 turn, but demolished that field. I don't know who was in it without looking it up. But Commandment, I mean, he can win from the outside. If you watch my video on him, I was impressed with how he can like split runners even in tight quarters and just burst through the seams. And he's probably gonna have to do that at least once in the Derby. No issues there. Dan and Bourbon. One of the knocks, he hasn't raced left-handed yet. That's another concern. That John White guy made a compelling case for him, but I mean, 20-1. I wonder if they just threw that number out there because they don't know as much about him. Chief Wallaby. Trying to remember. In the Florida Derby down the stretch, if you watch the head-on, I have that prospects video on him. And if you watch the head-on, it definitely looks like the Puma didn't really make him check or tap on the brakes, but sort of got in front of him in the stretch. So I don't know if he would have won or even ran second. He seemed barely a little bit green, but I definitely think the Puma got in front of him. So I think that definitely hindered his chances. He's only raced at Gulfstream. Mott won it last year. Hall of Fame trainer. Blinkers on. I don't have a strong opinion, but the consensus is in a race like this, putting the blinkers on could backfire pretty badly. I mean, I think the Florida Derby, you either take those three, you believe in them, maybe tack on Renegade, or are they all really the three standouts in this entire race? I'm kind of mixed. Chief Wallaby to me just sort of seems like a one-pace sort of grinder. I haven't seen him really kick on and go like, whoa, this horse is coming. He just kind of keeps grinding you down. Whereas Commandment, you can see when he's accelerating. Renegade, obviously. A little bit of the Puma. I just think the Puma should have pulled away last race. I don't remember any issues for him. So that's kind of why I'm on Commandment. Chief Wallaby, if he gets a clean trip unencumbered, I think he'll be there, but I just haven't seen him really have that push button sort of kick on and leave everyone in the dust. He's only had 3 starts, and again, I think the Puma got in his way last time. From the 1 hole. I think that's why I faded him last race. That they were evenly matched. I just thought he'd get shuffled back, and he did kind of have to wait. So if you factor that in, I mean, I would take Chief Wallaby over the Puma. I'm not high on the Puma, honestly. I mean, beat the Puma on debut, 5 wide. I just think Commandment's the one out of that Florida Derby. I mean, if Chief Wallaby wins, I will assume that means Renegade, Commandment, Further Ado. Well, Further Ado could get worn down by a fast pace if he's close. But I think Chief Wallaby needs a really good run, and for all the other top contenders to have some traffic along the way. But, you know, it is the Derby. Maybe if the Florida Derby's kind of hard to decipher, maybe just wait till the last second and bet the one with the highest odds. I mean, they're separated by a half length the last race. I just thought Commandment was coming on best, having gotten rolling sort of late. Yeah, Further Ado's Bluegrass. I know he scorched the field, but he should have beat this field by 11. Maybe not that much. That's pretty good, but I mean the final 8th in what, 12.9, whereas Renegade's final 8th in his race was sub 12. It was close to the pace. And IRAD opts to ride Renegade. The other thing is I've been sort of against Further Ado since I did my prospects video on him. Just the more that came out, the more I moved him down. And came out Granted, it was first off a layoff, ran right there with the Puma. Another reason why, if I'm against Further Ado, I'm feel better about fading the Puma. Won't be shocked if Further Ado or the Puma win. Will only be bummed, won't be shocked. Yeah, no, and I think Further Ado is going to get bet by some casual money, just seeing this 106 win by 11 lengths. I just don't think you're going to get the odds. Probably not going to want to take back much, and with the added speed, I mean, they could be going to 46 and small change. So if he's trying to stick with that and go further against the likes of Commandment, Renegade, even the Puma and Chief Wallaby, who I said's a grinder, going to be coming for him late, I'm against Further Ado. I did see the will pay doubles were out for the Oaks, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, Emerging Market is the favorite, paying the least in the doubles from the Oaks. Yeah, that was some speculation. I had heard that, it's a business relationship, so he's going to stick with Pletcher and Rapoli, but then I've heard other people say, like, no, the trainers would understand. It's the Derby. Every jockey gets one chance. So I'm kind of on the fence about, did Ortiz feel like he could pick anyone? I mean, Ortiz hasn't won yet, so I imagine they'd understand, like, hey, I think my best shot's over here. Let me get one. Or he just thinks this is the best horse. I mean, I do. I've had Renegade on number 1 on my list since that Tampa Derby, whenever I put that video out. Litmus test. Patente. I don't know if you guys watched my video on him. Let me read that. And he rode both horses. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard from a bunch of podcasts where everyone was like, no, trainers understand. You let the jockey pick the best horse and no hard feelings. Like, I would lean slightly more that way, but if he thought they were the same in terms of ability, but he's, tight with Pletcher and Rapoli, I could see him going that way. But I think his first pick is just who he thinks gives him the best chance to win. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the post. I'd almost be more I would be more concerned if he was a speed horse, because he's going to have to gun it when all those other horses come crashing down. I just think he needs to be kind of aggressive starting around the end of the first turn. But Patente, when I did my prospects video on, I really liked, obviously, won on debut in a sprint, so it's got speed enough to wire a sprint race. Came back, stalked nicely in the San Felipe, second start, first try around 2 turns. Stalked, and in the stretch here, Robusta got the lead. Patente was coming for him, and then Robusta veered down in front of him. Patente kind of had to veer in to try to get around him. Then Robusta kept coming in. Patente then had to veer out. So yeah, Patente only beat him by a head. I think it was 67-1 that race. But he had a lot more traffic in the stretch than I've really heard. It says Duggan late in the comments. But if you go back and watch this replay, I could pull it up if you guys don't have it. I just think there was a lot more traffic for a horse making its second start to deal with that and still run the horse down who was in front, to get around and then end up winning. And then next race, Robusta and him duel for the first 5/8 of a mile. He hangs on for second while Robusta calls it quits, fades to last. Loses to So Happy, who got a perfect stalking trip right behind those two duelers. I mean, they were side by side for 5/8 of a mile. Again, this is this horse's third start. So Happy takes advantage. But Patente was 6 lengths ahead of Vitruvian Man. I mean, not a standout Vitruvian Man, but the fact that he just survived that and ran second to a potential Derby winner. I think he gets back to his stalking ways with a lot of pace. The jockey is a concern. He did, I'm going to say blow it on Meaning today in the Oaks. I say blow it because I had Meaning on top of my try and I blew it. But yeah, I used to watch him at Golden Gate. Good jockey. I just don't know if he's ready for the big time. But I feel like I should have Potente on my ticket. Yes, Riddick. I think that Bluegrass was somewhat of maybe an anomaly, but I don't think he repeats that effort. Hernandez, underrated. Yeah, I'm a big fan of JJ when he was at Golden Gate. I live about 3 hours from Golden Gate. Cherokee Nation blew the start. Yeah, that kind of rendered Potente on the lead. But, I mean, he dueled with Robusta that for as long as Robusta could hang. Robusta couldn't handle it, finished last, and Potente hung on. I just think Potente is not going to be dueling like that. Gets back to his stalking ways. I like the post from the outside. I just think, I mean, improving speed figures even after dueling. Nice bullet work. A 6 furlong work. I think there's lots to like with Potente. Excuse me. Yeah, so happy. I mean, the storyline, the trainer's wife passed recently, tragically. The name play, I think that's why it's taken a lot of money. I think he's going to float back up a little bit, but it sounds like they're going to have a story on the trainer. And, you know, I won't have the horse, but if they win, it'll be good for Mark Glatt's soul. Yeah, the only knock was so happy. I'm sure everyone's heard it. Is what number is he? 9, 8. Run Happy, good sprinter, but Super Saver I believe was a Derby winner, and Blame upset Zenyatta. So I did a video on him too. Definitely some distance pedigree with Blame, and Super Saver I think was a Derby winner. Heard someone talking about it today. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Temple Bailey. I think maybe Baffert just said, well, Cherokee Nation, yeah, did blow the break. I wonder what it came of that. Maybe Cherokee Nation was to go out in front and Potente right off, but after that, they just said, let's see what this horse has. And again, after dueling, finished second, while the other horse that tried doing that same thing faded to last. So I like Potente. The jockey is a concern, though I love him, but I mean, Into Mischief, awesome again. Distance shouldn't be an issue. I did like that Santa Anita as like a tune-up. Baffert with a 6 furlong work. That's one of my buddy's favorite angles. See a 6 furlong work in there. Then back to 5 furlongs, ran a bullet. 6 days out from the Derby. That's a little interesting. Yeah. Yeah, last year I was talking about Coal Battle, I think, in my Derby Prospects video, and I was like, well, he's outrunning his pedigree. Of course, it didn't pan out in the end, but he was looking good heading into the Derby. Well, I think his race right before the Derby wasn't spectacular, but he was getting interesting for a while there. Let's go back to So Happy. Did beat Butane. Let's see who So Happy's Damn So Cunning has put out. Looks like I've already looked for her too. Progeny. Let's see, there's So Happy. A horse that's run 2 times, no wins, 17 times, 3 wins. Trace Francais. It's only one by run happy, but only 4 horses, 3 to race. $52,000 earner. Oh, I'm not knocking Juan. I just know him from Golden Gate. He's mostly a West Coast guy, and I rarely see him outside of the West Coast. I mean, first time in the Derbies. I mean, more power to him. I like the horse. Just, I don't know how the human is going to react to the Derby, let alone the horse. So, not necessarily a knock, just a factor I'm considering. I mean, I thought the ride Meaning got today in the Oaks could exactly be how Patente goes. Turns for home, gets a narrow lead, and then just gets run down late. I actually messaged a friend right after the race. Like, I think I just saw how Patente's race is going to go. And I could see that. I was not exactly kidding. What do you guys make of these quick workouts? On the 6 days out from, I mean, everyone was giving Intrepido a hard time for the 4 and 45, which a lot quicker than this, but a little further, but a bullet. Does that just mean the horse is sharp, or is that a little too much before the Derby? Thanks for that. I mean, as far as the Derby goes, I'd put Commandment and Renegade on top. Boring, I know. But this is, regardless of odds, just how I think it'll come. 6-1. Patente, I could see him getting past, but how much does he fade? Emerging Market, I wonder if he's going to make his move and kind of peter out. Like 6-1. 14-15. Not big on the tempo. Tactics out. Chief Wallaby should be there. 12, 14, 15. Again, incredible. I mean, yeah, I'm not doubting whatever Baffert wants to do. But people are giving Intrepido grief for this 45. I mean, that is pretty swift. I kind of sort of had him stalking from further back, but people think this horse might be a little keyed up and gets sent towards the lead. You guys know much about Deep Impact, this sire in Japan? I hear good things. I just don't know. Is he like a turf or a dirt or both? Does he just throw everything? Yeah, I'll leave it right here. I'm going to take a quick whiz. Be back in a minute. I'll take that under advisement. Start looking into the formulators. I'm married. I've been trained to wash my hands. Anything else in the Derby you want to go over? Talk about who to take in a pick 4. Actually, if we go, I thought about singling Knightsbridge, but my friend's kind of giving me cold feet in the Churchill Downs Stakes. Disco Time's good, but I don't care for the inside post. I mean, obviously, if you... Oh, the formulator is? Cornucopia. Yeah. I did my Kentucky Derby picks, pick 4 video, and over the last 12 years, no horse has won this race from the 1 and 2 post. Take that for what it's worth. I mean, this Arkansas Derby race was wild. I remember watching that live. Sandman ends up winning, but just battling, going way too fast. He's come back since then and been pretty dang good. Yeah, Knightsbridge is going to be pretty low odds, so if you can beat him in this race, get kind of a nice boost in payouts. I was thinking about spreading the Derby, but maybe I just go with my 1-6 like I've been on for 3 months in the Derby and spread a little bit here. Your man Juan. Disruptor was interesting. Disruptor was cross-entered into a Friday race, but chose to go here instead. Gunrunner out of a Speightstown. Speightstown sired 2 different winners of this race in the last 12 years. And Gunrunner's just Gunrunner. So I like the breeding here. I don't know. I thought last year they had 2 as well, but I could be wrong. Doesn't sound new to me. I think they mostly do it so people that want to leave after the Derby and people that want to stay, they kind of split up the who's leaving out of the parking lot. Yeah, and Bill Mott is the trainer with the most wins of this race. I think he's got 4 wins. And in that video, I looked at the average post position of the winner of the last 12 years, and it comes out to post 6. The trainer who's won this race the most. This horse is just on fire. Apparently, he hasn't beaten anyone outstanding, but he's beating him by 4, 4, 11 lengths. Let's see what this horse, BU, came back to win. When was this race? November 22nd. Allowance optional. Toboggan Stakes. 3rd in a grade 2. The Carter. Who won that race? Point Doom, who's in this race. Bookham Dano, okay, he was third in that race. Bookham Dano is making his comeback off a layoff, I believe, so beating Bookham Dano looks nice on the resume, but probably not in peak performance at the time. Yeah, I might do one ticket where I single start contrast to start. Spread here. Single. I really like test score and the Turf Classic before the Derby. So single the favorite, spread, try to beat this 9-5, single, and then spread in the Derby. And then another ticket, the American Turf, the 3-year-old turf race, seems to invite chaos. A lot of long shots have won the race in recent years. The other one I thought, in case he gets really hot up front, was number 9, Crazy Mason underneath. He's always coming with a run. And in his last race, off a 4-month layoff, he was down on the rail. The field kind of went to his outside and around him. He had to take back, shuffled back around the field, circled him, and then ran second to Saudi Crown, who's a pretty good horse. It says 6th path at the quarter pole. That's because he was down on the rail. Kind of had to stop, let everyone go around, then he circled the field. I thought that was a pretty good effort by this horse. Ran third by 1 length to Bookham Dano. Scotland's a pretty good horse. Beat Scotland by half length the next time out. Yeah, 25%. Ortiz hops off, rides Disruptor. Franco hops back on. He's ridden him a few times, won the Carter on him. Never out of the money at this distance. I just think if they go very fast up front, this guy can pick up the pieces. Man, he hungry. Japanese horse is pretty decent. I mean, his 3rd place finish, going left-handed at this distance. The winner and runner-up both came out to win next time out. I'm pretty sure this is Forever Young's jockey coming over to ride this guy. Horse is coming from, was that Saudi? I just thought that was a pretty hard fought race, and the travel maybe doesn't run his A game here. Imagination. Yeah, Junior Alvarado, it was going around on Twitter. There was that inquiry where he was on Baeza, and I guess the TV feed had him on talking to the stewards, and he was cussing up a storm a little bit. So hope he's not, maybe he comes back hungry and angry tomorrow, or maybe he goes on tilt a little. Let's check out the race to start off the pick 5. Ending in the Derby, that is. So 1 turn mile, grade 2, Englishman. Sure you've all heard of this horse. See what White Tiger came back to win. I guess that makes sense. His maiden, 9th in the Lecomte. Yeah, that's why I was thinking of 2 tickets. Knightsbridge with that trainer and the post. Everything just sort of points to him, but I think everyone's going to be singling Knightsbridge. Banishing, I'd love to own that horse, but it's just 2 races overseas in Saudi or whatever. I just feel like he's just been on a campaign. Feel like it might catch up to him at some point. His workouts are pretty short, not too fast. Never out of the top 2 for the distance, though. That was a hell of a race last year in this race, where he finished 2nd to Mindframe and Nisos. Well, if Mindframe and Nisos were in this race today, what would they be odds-wise? And you got Banishing at 12-1 now. I think I might have to do 2 tickets. One where I spread here and we got speed all over the place. Banishing can come from off. I thought Disruptor could come from off a little bit. Used to work for him on the track. See training back then. Walking Hots. 3 for 3 at the distance for Point Doom. Beat Bookham Dano, but again, that was his comeback race. I feel like could he improve off these back-to-back triple-digit buyers? I mean, I don't think Disco Time's going to let him get away. I think Disco Time will be right on his heels. Cornucopian right there. Macho Music could be part of the pace. Last race bumped at the brake. Looks like he wants to be forward. Disco Time probably take back a little. Cornucopian take back a little. Hall of Fame. It's got 1 run. Maybe come from a little off. Showed speed in some routes. Coming off almost a year layoff. Tricky little race. I don't want to take all the Knightsbridge demolishes. I mean, it was a good race last year too. Who's looked at the American turf? Because I had a couple of long shots I liked just because this race has been chaotic in recent years. But stark contrast, done really nothing wrong. His biggest loss was on debut against Butane, sprinting, which is what he wanted to do on dirt. So stark contrast, does not seem like a dirt sprinter. Won a grade 3, 2nd in the Grade 1 to Gustad, who's pretty phenomenal. Took a little over 2 months, came back, won an Eddie Logan. This is probably maybe their shot at trying to get him in the Derby. Ran second to Full Effort, who was in the Derby. Yeah. Yeah, just hate to hit. I mean, I'd rather hit the all button and then click Knightsbridge, take him off, because if he wins, it's... Unless I have prices elsewhere. But Stark Contrast, who's going to beat Stark Contrast? Kind of like blinging it back. See what Abab Joni came back to win. An allowance optional claimer. Going a mile on the turf, so stretched out. He was the favorite there. So he stretched out just fine. Horse closed on at Kentucky Down. That's a pretty speed-friendly track. Beat Bozzy and Alpeland. Jockey's pretty cold. 0 for 11. Again, these are 3-year-olds. They can improve. Stark Contrast looks good. Blackout Time, first time on the turf. I think I did a video on him a while back. A lot of questions. I mean, he's faced Renegade, Class President, Silent Tactic, Litmus Test, Taptastic, who looks to be good, Ted Noffey. He's facing good company, but is he going to take to the turf? I guess Giants Causeways. Not this time. They can kind of produce anything. Races since this break, turning 3, haven't been outstanding. It's the turf, the move. Kenny McPeak, 6% with first-time turfers out of 70 runners. I can't take him. Let him beat me. Black Hornet, another long shot I was interested in. Just sort of lost his compass, kind of. Well, it says drifted at the quarter pole. He just did not stay in his lane. Went wide. 16 to 1 in this race against Stark Contrast. What did Stark go off at? 2 to 1. Behind Full Effort, who just ran him down. But gets back to turf, where he is 2 for 2 at this distance. 78 and 86 buyer. I mean, that's not far off a Stark Contrast. This maybe didn't take to the synthetic there. More Than Ready, I'm pretty sure produces some turf. I think he produced Unusual Heat, who was a very prominent sire on the Golden Gate turf back when that was still around. This Black Gold Stakes, Touch of Fire, came back to win McCready. Jockey's 4% on the year. Not fantastic, but has ridden him the last 2 times. I think just gets back to turf. Be good for him. Alpeland, again, his speed figures are right there with Stark Contrast. Tampa Bay and Gulfstream Park, pretty swift turf courses. Ran a couple of 84s, then ran an 85. Could he improve again? Lost 1,000 sticks, beat Honey Dutch, lost a blinging it back. Bumped inside, angled out wide. Trying to close on that Kentucky Downs track. I mean, since going around 2 turns. It's 1-3. Finished third. How did 1,000 sticks win that race? Right up on the lead. Speed favoring track came back. Did not run as well. Picked it up a little late and shorter. Bozzy and Honey Dutch came to beat. Remember, Mamba somehow won this race, was veering all over the stretch. Beat Honey Dutch and Bozzy, who 1,000 sticks beat. Kitten's Joy, good turf sire. Horse is improving. I guess with 3-year-olds want to see that improvement. Ran an 85, a little squirrely. Only about maybe 2.5 month break though. Undefeated. Beat McCready. Who was it that beat McCready? Was that blinging it back? No, my other long shot. Yeah, beat McCready by 3 1/4 lengths. Same margin there. Beat Honey Dutch and Bozzy by a half length. Where Honey Dutch beat you. So let's check out Honey Dutch. What am I missing? Oh, just wired. Not really trusting a wired job in this race. I mean, these weren't exceptional fractions. Still got ran down. Kind of danced a lot of dances. I wonder if he's kind of topping off. Who's going to go with him, though? Alpeland will be right on his heels. Blackout Time, I think, will show some speed. Star Contrast will be right on his heels. Oh, and Street Beast. Heard someone on Brisnet Collins show, maybe, talking up Street Beast. And kind of had the loose lead, and that's where I didn't think the stretch run looked fantastic there. This is a speed favoring track, as you can see by the fractions for the most part. One sprinting, I think I'd let a wire job beat me. Maiden here. Very fast race. Close into it. Kind of had every right to. Post game, I looked him up. Nothing fantastic. I don't think he beat much. This horse beat Bozzy and Alpeland. 6.5. Closing at a speed favoring track though. He's come back. 3-4. This horse closed real nicely. Sub 30 there. 3-4-6. This could be one of those races where if I do spread in the pick 4, I might bet a trifecta with stark contrast to win, just in case the favorite beats me when I spread, with this 30 to 1 underneath, this 20 to 1 underneath. Alpeland, I just wonder, an extra eighth of a mile, is that really going to help him? Sub 25 final quarter there. Sub 30 there, that's pretty swift. That's a fast track Gulfstream. 23.5 second there, he's closing into it. Sub 24 there. This horse is coming at 8 to 1. Yeah. Greenwich. Why did I get off him? Guess I shouldn't discount Greenwich either. So do I go spread in the 10th, and single test score? And then renegade? I'm going to go to the last race unless someone wants to chime in with anything. I don't think I'll be betting the early stuff, but I'll start working my way backwards afterwards. Yeah, before I get started, I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick. Back in 2 seconds. Nice workouts coming in. Not sure I love the rail though. 10 to 1. Morning line maker doesn't love this horse either. Best ball 30 to 1. Justify Bernardini. Looks like some good breeding. Has not run much. 3-year-olds and upwards. Came back off a 4-month break, ran a 68. Tamino. Let's just see if this horse has done anything since that win. Third in an allowance race, but did improve on the Equibase speed figure chart. Put front wraps on for this race, ran a little bit better. A 24-second final quarter, stayed on. 68. See how that stacks up with the rest. Omaha Beach, Unbridled Song, $500,000 purchase. Bunch of bullet workouts. Some from the gate. 6 to 1. Irad, Asmussen. 0 for 16 together. 7% together. Not his first call rider. The fact that he's 6 to 1 and not lower makes me wonder a little. But looks good. Doesn't really win on debut often. 9% from 235 first time starters. Doesn't seem to have him cranked up first time out. Got my kid on the camera. She's stirring, so if I have to run, I'll be right back. Back down though. Not the hottest trainer first out, not the hottest jockey, 15-1. Distance Tomlinson 354, 408 for this firster. Decent workout here, going 5. Was working out on the turf a couple of times, 1, 2, 3 times. Might show some speed, but not so sure about that one. Game winner, Liam's map, $150,000 purchase. Jose aboard. Nice 5 furlong workout over the track. Another one back here out of the gate. Another one right here. Joe Sharp, 20%. They team up and win at 20% together. 23% on the year. 8-1. That one's a little interesting. Tap it, 'tis the law. Let's see, last 2 are on turf. Ran against Class President. Got off the Derby trail, that's a good horse. Sure to Appeal, let's see what that horse has done. Nothing since that win. Came back to run poorly. Class President, know about him. See what Code Review won after that. Two for 2. Allowance optional claimer. Going 1 mile on the dirt. I did. That's a horse I remember from those Derby videos, running against some others. Code Review, big favorite to win by a neck. 1 turn dirt mile. Don't love this horse. They tried to stretch him out. Maybe because he didn't have sprinter speed with the stamina, so they try to stretch him out, maybe get him in a little slower race. Still not getting the job done. Or Gulfstream Park. Don't love that one. Active Parliament, $750,000 purchase. Payson Training Center. Heard that track's pretty heavy or deep, so if a horse works well over it, they could be pretty fit. Does have a bullet here. 102 time, but best of 10 on the day. Broke from the gate. First timer like to see some gate works. Brad Cox. Louis Saez. He is riding his Derby horse. $372 on the Tomlinson. How do they come? The Tomlinson is just based on the pedigree of how much they should like the distance. And by rule of thumb, basically, I know they vary a little, like turf. Good might be like 280 for distance. You want to look for 320 or higher. But they're all around 300, so anything way over 300's notable. But it's, yeah, based on pedigree. So you can see which horse might appreciate the turf more. Like Don's Winner apparently probably won't like the turf based on pedigree. I don't know how they mix and match it. I've seen plenty of Candy Rides win on the turf, but for whatever reason, Exactly how they do it, I'm not totally sure, but I know it's based on pedigree, not past performances. Yep, 71 on debut. Typically, I do like a competitive buyer on debut. 9-2. Let's see what Wyatt's World has done since then. Nothing. A couple of nice workouts, but just that one start. Let's see what Azam came back to win. Well, probably his maiden race, right? Doing what at Gulfstream? 1 mile on the dirt. That's a pretty big field. He was 12-1 in that race. So he was like an outsider and still beat this field pretty easily by 2 lengths. That's notable. So he beat this horse. He stretched out to win. He ran close to the pace and then petered out. He could take a step forward, I suppose. Blame Quality Road. 377 on the distance. Maiden second start. This trainer's 27% win rate. Off this kind of a layoff, 31 to 60 days, 20%. Dirt 21, sprint 25%. Maiden special 20. 9-2. He's a little lower price, but looks pretty good. Big Jake, 368. He's got a 6 furlong work. Bob Baffert horse with Flavian Pratt, 8-1. Would not mind being live to this horse. Uncle Mo, Army Mule. I like the 6 furlong workout. My buddies turned me on to that. First time starter. Bob's almost 40%. Pratt, Baffert, 8-1. Outside post. Gotta imagine if Bob's bringing this horse out to Churchill instead of Santa Anita, probably thinks something of this horse, right? Speightstown horse, those are usually pretty swift. Lost a Great Moment. Who's this horse down here? Great Moment here. He's 0 for 7. Last 2 figures were the best. Almost a year off. But now it's 4. Has improved. Put the blinkers on for these. Had them on here. Far outside in a sprint. Retribution's a good horse. Came back. Ring Curl, that's that Anton Georgi horse in the previous race. This was a pretty fast race, fast early, and then a sub 24 final quarter. That's zipping. Suppose. And he was on the inside for his first 2 starts. He's bet pretty good second time out. Not too worried. Let's see what this horse has done. See if he's done anything. Nope. That was a win on debut for Not to Worry. So that could be a good horse to even win on debut. Chianti Town. The Mo the Merrier. See what this horse has done. Just that one race. Sergeant Sully. Yes, I am on X. Let's see. I think my handle is Quagmire FG88. It's my old AOL Instant Messenger name. And I created it before I did this Monday morning handicapping business. Really regressed. What did this horse do? 6 furlongs on the dirt at Keeneland. Did not run great. Not too impressed. Justify Unbridled Song, but only a $17,000 purchase. Green first. Wasn't really bet on debut. That's a pretty weak field. Charlestown. Essential Quality Unbridled Song here. $450,000 purchase. Showed speed going a mile, cutting back. Pretty fast race on debut. Went to a mile, cutting back. That's kind of interesting. Just kind of like a workout within a race going that mile. Saugeen. What's this horse done? He ran 5th in the race before. Commerce. I gotta stop looking at the most recent races. Yeah. Vintage Cowboy. That horse came back to win. And where did he win? Oaklawn Park. Going a mile on the dirt. 6-1. Silver Syndicate. Sounds like a Dave Portnoy horse. So that horse stretched out to win. This horse stretched out to not win. Cutting back. Route to sprint 12% with that move for this trainer. Brave Pilot. Nice 5 furlong workouts over the track. Got this horse out here in March. So looks like 8. And then you take Baffert first timer that he brought out here. Take Active Parliament first timer. Looks like there's a little bit of speed there. Joe Sharp horse. Don't like inside first timers. This horse is slow. This horse could go to the lead. This horse might try to get hustled out of the gate. This one has... So who can kind of stalk? So 6 can stalk, but I don't think he's much of a sprinter at this point. Asmussen just doesn't throw out first time starting winners, and Irad's not his first call jockey. Guess I might have this, either this horse wins or sort of runs off the board. Pretty good Fig Tomlinson for the distance. Nice workouts. Active Parliament. find no fault. I definitely prefer a horse that has at least one start, and I think this was a pretty good race. I think 8 on top. But of course, 9-2, probably the favorite. Brave Pilot. So the horses to his outside. A Baffert first timer, but has Pratt. McCarthy with Hernandez. A couple of nice 5 furlong workouts. This horse doesn't have any workouts. It's making a pretty quick turnover here. Natalie Baffert. Is that his wife that owns this horse? Should we watch this horse? Psst. Should we watch that start, bump start inside? I'm kind of interested. So the 1 gets bumped out of the gate. Let's see how bad it is.
Okay.
Look up top. Yeah, that was something. Let's see if there's anything more that's not in the comment line. So got bumped, kind of rushing up to get to the lead. Looks like the jockey's putting his feet in the dash a little. Yeah. It's in behind, nowhere really to go. Horses to his outside, horses in front of him. What's he gonna do? Does he get an opening? Nope. Looks like the jockey's trying to find a path. Finally gets clear. Still behind that horse in front of him. It's holding everyone else off. Dude, I have like a 1-minute lag on my feed. Apologize for the delay. I'll have to play with my settings. About like a 90-second delay. So yeah, I guess 8, Baffert. Horse looks fine. 8 over 9. Yeah, Speightstown. Good sprinter. Sub 24 final. Yeah, they both came back to regress. Chianti Town and Great Moment after that race. Guess he had a little bit of a bump start as well. Much slower race. They both came back to run slower. I guess the 10 may be underneath. Looks like gonna have some. That's a pretty quick run here. That is Gulfstream pretty quick. Gulfstream pretty quick. Flying Dutchman, that's the Dutch Bros Coffee. Bunch of those around my neck of the woods. This horse has been bet in each of its races. 4-1 on debut, 2-1, 5-horse field granted. 5-1, 3-1, 3-1. He's run a 73 on Gulfstream Dirt. It's right up there with my top pick. He's got racing experience. Broke from the inside, broke from the outside. From the outside here, pretty fast race. Let's see what code review. I've looked this horse up before. I see that horse is 2 for 2. That's a pretty good horse. Maybe Prize Pick can be a sneaky speed horse in a race with a bunch of first timers. Goes to the turf. Goes to the long turf, a good track. Churchill seems to be favoring. You know what? I'm going to call an audible. I'll put the 6 up there, and then I'll feel a bit better about the Baffert being in third. I think the 6 could be a sneaky play there. I don't know. What do you guys think of Prize Pick after all that? Oh, that's an interesting angle, the Lasix. I guess the figure was a bit better without it, but that is noteworthy. Lost a Patente, lost a Plutarch. Those are some decent horses. John Velasquez. Bit of a jockey upgrade. I like Kimura. He's fine, but I thought about doing the wrap up, kind of just go back over the card, look at who won, and just kind of discuss how we could have gotten there. If there's any unusual runners or winners, rather. I'd be down for that. It's been a grind for the past 2 months doing all these Derby prospects. I've been trying to crank them out, so Derby night I'll probably be exhausted. Sunday, that could be a nice relaxation. Just chill out and look at races that have already run rather than try to predict the future. Maybe push it to Monday. We'll see. Sunday or Monday, that'd be fine. Source ran against Golden Tempo, full effort, stark contrast. Does have a win at this track. Going a mile, 1-for-1 at the track and distance. But now you got the Baffert also coming off Lasix. Looks like this horse will come from off of it a little bit. Is any other horse going to go try and mess with Englishman early? No, Crown the Buckeye could press the pace. And coming out of mile races, so should have the stamina to handle. Well, I guess this is a mile, but 1 turn. Aqueduct's a 1-turn mile. These are 2-turn. Won a sprint. Was that Thistle Down? Nailed by Chimpancho. Golden Tempo. This horse has never run with Lasix. I don't think he's gonna outrun Englishman, but I think he could tire Englishman out unless Englishman's just a freak, which he might be. This horse looks like he'll be right on their heels as well. Got waxed by Further Ado, but still ran an 85. Nice workout. 5 furlongs and 58 flat. Lock, Stock, and Farrell looks like he'll want to go. Great White is in the Derby now, so he's out. Looks like that. Man, it's a big field. So it says 1 win in a long time. Looks like there's enough speed to mess with Englishman, perhaps. Definitely think Englishman is the better This horse ran its best race on synthetic. Actually beat Full Effort. I remember that race. Street Beast is pretty good. Oh, Great White Scratch, duh. Was leading in that race against Incredible. That's a pretty fast track. Just got tired. I think. Well, if Englishman gets tired, who's going to run by him? Do we take the Baffer off Lasix? Thought this grade 3 was a pretty good race. Plutarch ran very well that day. Came back Patente. And just kind of ran evenly. Crude Velocity looks pretty good. Creole Cream. Interesting. Came from off in sprints, went to the lead, faded, mile and an eighth, cuts back to a 1-turn mile. Might be, I think this probably sets up for the 6, Crude Velocity. I don't really see any other. Let's Stop the Car. Has a win over the track. Ran on synthetic from the far outside, wide, ran evenly, Full Effort's in the Derby. I do think Stop the Car is a bit interesting. Those are some pretty good fractions going 1 turn. True. Stop the Car is interesting. It's getting a little lighter weight with Gaffleon. That's a good jockey. If we're just going to fade Englishman. And so 6 over 5. I do like that trouble calling. Stretched out to 7 furlongs. Came from off the pace. Granted, it was a wet track and they were zipping. Came home in the final 8th in 14 seconds. Got up by a head. That's not flying home. Crude Velocity doesn't fly home faster than that. Yeah, I think 6 over 5. This horse has some really nice works coming in. Won a sprint on debut by a lot. Went to a mile, won just stalking the pace. Some nice sharp workouts. Yeah, Englishman could dominate, but I think this is a race where we assume the pace is too much, too hot, stretching out to a mile. We go crude velocity over 5, and I don't mind this 11. 6, 5, 11. Yeah, I just think from a pace scenario standpoint, stretching out for Englishmen could hurt him. Now, from the rail too, just to do a quick glance at this. Was this a grade 2, 4 and up? Alright, I think I am going to be wrapping it up here. It's 11 o'clock my time, and I got to be up early. Agreed. No. Yeah, that was a nice trifecta. I got an email from a guy who's been following my channel. Said, I don't know what race he bet, but he said he made $500 off trifectas and superfectas, and he only bet like $7. So, shit, that sucks.